each other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio. So happy to have you with me today on the Voice of Liberty. You can give a call after the first break, 585-346-3000. I was thinking about something recently, and it was my mom. My mom has passed away many years ago. But at one point, after she had had many problems, she had to get back into the workforce. And she had to go back to doing something she had done when she first came to this country. My mother was an immigrant, legal immigrant, by the way, just for those you care. She was a legal immigrant. She came to America, and she didn't speak very good English. So she worked in restaurants. And she was German, so she worked in a German restaurant, many restaurants, being a waitress, being able to kind of learn her English and get better so she could become, better at being in America. She'd grown past that, and I tell this story often. She'd grown past that, started a small side business, cleaning offices and cleaning houses. I was a kid. I helped her do that. Got us out of the city to a home that we actually owned. My father passed away, and then my mom got into a very bad spot, and she was eventually an addict and a felon. So everything she had built up, she lost. All of it. House gone, cars gone, resume destroyed, all gone. She comes out of prison with 2 garbage bags. I bring her up. We got to get her back in action again. So what'd she do? She went right back to waitressing, to being a server, mostly diners now, because she didn't have to go to German restaurants because she spoke English well. She'd been here for many years, many decades. She spoke English fine. So she worked in diners. How did she pay those bills? How did she pay the bills when she was a young immigrant? And then how did she pay those bills when she was in trouble and trying to rebuild her life? Well, if you've been a server, you know how she paid those bills. Tips. That's how she made her money. Tips, tips, and more tips. Lots of people who are in trouble go off to become servers, try to rebuild their lives. A lot of people start their lives that way. Gain a work ethic, understand customer service, understand business, understand taxation. Many people do. Many youngsters, but there are people who've been in the service industry for decades, surviving, thriving, paying their bills, building their families out heavily on tips. A lot of it on tips. So when President Trump says, hey, no tax on tips, a lot of people go, wow, that's great. There are very few super wealthy people who pay their bills on tips, right? I mean, I'm sure there's probably a couple like really high-end servers here or there. Maybe there's a couple. But the vast majority of people who are very wealthy do not make their money on tips. And a whole lot of people who are working class make their money and pay their bills on tips. So by default, a law like that, a rule like that, is going to affect the working class far more than the wealthy. Not even close. Far more, by leaps and bounds. People you and I know, if not you and or I. So when that bill was passed, it wasn't perfect. I think it was $25,000 or something like that, whatever. I wish it was more. but I get it. Take what I can get. In her wisdom, our queen, Queen Kathy, first of her name, banisher of conservatives, worshiper of the jab, destroyer of the lives of servers, decided in her wisdom, no, you don't get to do that. Now, she decided, well, we're going to pass a law that says, yeah, federally, I guess you cannot count them, but statewide, no, you got to pay. You got to pay. Servers, excuse me, servers, you got to pay. Doesn't matter what it is, you got to pay. People who are literally saying, I need help, I'm in trouble, you got to pay. You know why? Because Kathy Hochul cares about us. She cares. She decided that was a good idea. And our assembly said, wonderful idea. That's good, because they care. I've been told by Democrats again and again and again that they care about the working class. They keep telling me that. But then I see this and I go, wait a minute. Could you be lying to me? What? Then I see, right after that, the COPA Law, which is now passed in New York City, the Community Opportunity to Purchase Act. You might go, that sounds amazing. That's community, Larry. You're right. That does sound great. It's not great, but it does sound great. It does. The community is going to help out. Well, look at that. I love that. The community is going to help. What does that mean? Well, when people start doing well, a common thing they do, maybe they're immigrants, maybe they're just a regular small family, maybe they have a small business, and they start doing well, it is very common that they buy some form of property. It's a common thing, right? Maybe they buy a home for their family, and then maybe they buy a secondary home. Maybe they move into that secondary home and rent out their first, or maybe they turn their home into a multifamily home and rent out a room, or something like this. It's a common thing that people do, or at least used to. They used to do that. It's a common thing. Well, Mom Donnie and our Queen Kathy, they care about us. I feel the love. They want the community to step in. Because if you're able to get past the tax on tips to raise the money to buy some property, so you have a property you could rent out and move from working class even higher up, maybe into middle class or upper middle class. You start move up the chain. Look at you go and buy some property, have some rentals. Look at you go. Proud of you. You don't get to do that. Because if that property gets in trouble at all, maybe you get sick or ill, maybe you want to pack up and leave New York State. I hope you don't, but I get it if you do. You want to sell that property, and it's in New York City. Well, guess what? The community has a chance to buy that before anyone else does. What? Yeah, the community could buy it. You might go, wait a minute, Larry, that sounds amazing. Oh, but it's not. It's either nonprofits or community groups, meaning people literally getting backed by the government. So they're getting government grants, following government rules to buy your property. You might go, no, Larry, I have a buyer right here who wants to buy my property so I can maybe pay some of my bills or buy a new home or move or bring my elderly parents into my home, whatever thing I want to do. I sort of go on vacation to Europe because I want to, and it's my money and I can do what I want with it. Okay. Well, you got to wait. What do you mean you got to wait? I think it's 90 days. I forgot. Some period. You got to wait until the community decides to figure out whether they want to buy your property or not. But Larry, I have a buyer. Well, that buyer has to wait. Well, that buyer doesn't want to wait. Well, then I guess you don't sell your property, do you? I'm not joking. Because you have to wait. The waiting period. I think it's 90 days. It might be more. Whatever. I'm going to say for sake of argument, 90 days. I forgot what the actual number is. So sake of argument, 90 days. So I get to wait 90 days. Huh. When the community says, here's what we're going to give you. And I go, I don't know if I want that. I want to negotiate. Another 90 days. Yeah. So 6 months before I can sell my property. But my parents are ill today. But I want to leave tomorrow. But I need the money in 2 months. Too bad. Too bad. So who's going to benefit from this? Well, clearly, this is those massive landlord bad guys. We're going to get them. This isn't for the little guy. This is for the big guy. Does the big guy have his problem? No, not at all. Not just that the big guy will transfer it into a trust. The big guy has tons of money and tons of time and knows bankers. It's the little guy who doesn't have the connections, who can't afford to gift it to his friend. But the big guy can. I don't like that thing. I'll gift it to my friend. Get around the law. And he'll give something to me later. It's fine. We'll get around the law. We have lawyers. We'll get around the law. We got accountants. We'll figure it out. But I'm the guy who busted his rump as a server. Got all my tips, paid my taxes, bought this place so I could make some money. I could make some money now. Oh, you can't sell it now. I got bills. Bank doesn't care. Bank doesn't want to help you out. As always, New York State, helping out the little guy. What are they actually doing? More government interference, more government control, more government money, and you don't win. Am I wrong? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Bob Savage here again for Aaron Moore. You're probably trying to head off staggering heating bills this bitter winter without shivering and dressing in layers indoors. Good thing you can do what so many have discovered, that you can slash your heating costs this fall and winter with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters while cranking down your furnace. Even better, Aaron Moore heat is quiet, clean, and even, and healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose, sinuses, and skin. And Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe for children and pets. No exposed hot surfaces or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards. Choose the best-selling Comfort Deluxe or the Compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Enter discount code WYSL in your shopping cart and save. Free shipping in the continental USA. Copper PTC technology means there are no
Okay, we have Keith.
ever. Built like a battleship.
You're welcome.
Maintenance-free Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills like we do at the Voice of Liberty. Call 800-707-8725 or visit more.com.
Hey, if you like history and you like airplanes, the National Warplane Museum in Geneseo, New York is the place to go. Tours, exhibits, events, vintage aircraft, and more. Visit nationalwarplanemuseum.com for more details.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000. Yep, people are knowing this. They saw this already. John actually posts, just found out, and unshockingly, Kathy Hochul in the New York legislature won't recognize the new tax code centered around no taxes on tips and overtime. So much for them being the part of the working class. Well, they talk a good game, John. That's about it. It sounds nice when they say stuff. So I guess if you want a warm, fuzzy feeling before they smack you in the face, I guess you get that. Something. Not great, though. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
Okay. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year.
I want to talk about a waiting period that dovetails with yours. That
Okay.
was Trump's promise that no taxes will be paid anymore on overtime. My sister Kathy in New Hampshire works lots of overtime, and she recently looked at her payment, and the government on the OT took out 58% of her wages. Everyone listening, 58%.
Wow.
So Kathy, because of the way Trump talks, was expecting immediate relief, but her boyfriend Bruce had to explain, no, you will get that starting in this year's tax period. And my complaint has to do with both parties. In this case, because I get to say it, I'm very conservative. Trump has a way of talking about any issue that makes it sound we're going to get spectacular results in the very immediate. Why is it both parties, in this case, could not have given the relief for tips and the OT this year? Because people could say to my sister and others who work the OT, you're just going to have to be a grown-up and wait. But human nature says no. And I know Trump doesn't like hearing the A word, affordability. They want things now, and the two parties must get this legislation faster out. Really, our founding fathers knew all about the very premise of human nature. It's been lost on modernity. A lot of people today, human nature, or what is that? Something spiritual, but like Kathy,
let me grab a couple of these, Keith. The first piece you brought up is correct. I have said this about Trump so many times. He, in this term, his communication has been terrible. And people don't like it when I say it, but it's true. He always says, the thing I'm going to do is right now. Like the tariffs are going to help right now. Tariffs are a long-term strategy. Even if they work or not, they're a long-term strategy. He didn't say that. It's like, oh, tariffs are amazing. It's going to happen tomorrow. He's going to end the wars in 24 hours. No, you're not. No tax on tips right now. His communication has been terrible. I go back to Milei in Argentina. In Argentina, Milei said the first year is going to be terrible. To your point, Keith, he treated the Argentinians like adults and said it's going to suck this first year, but then it's going to be better. Give me time. Trump didn't do that. Trump was talking, like you said, oh, today, tomorrow, oh my God, it's great. Yet the stuff he's put into place is long-term things. Why would you say it's going to be tomorrow when it's going to be long-term? I agree with you completely.
Not to go long on my part, Trump has a bad way on numerous subjects of talking like that, but both parties have to get together. Maybe you can explain to the audience why that legislation, I want to make the point in closing, and this ties in with a strong enough possibility the Republicans could lose the midterms. If you get money into the hands of the people, then maybe Trump would not have to hear about affordability, because he only started talking about it when his friend Bill O'Reilly said, whether you like it or not, sir, affordability is on the people's mind. You, Trump, the president, could say all you want to the economy is good, but many people are not feeling it. If that legislation by both parties was really pushed through so Kathy and other people would have gotten money this year, then maybe the Republicans would not be in peril for November.
I think you are correct. I think the reality of it is, Keith, is the more it goes back to that same thing. It's the economy, stupid. They've been saying it for 30 years. They've been right for 30 years, right? If Trump can get away with a lot, if the economy's good. If the economy's not good, he can't get away with much. During his first term, the economy was good. People were like, yeah, go. But it's a second piece. And that is when Trump first came aboard this year, he was doing everything. He was throwing everything at the wall, change and doing everything. But then he told us it was going to happen right away.
Phil.
And it wasn't. Thank you for the call, Keith. I appreciate it. All right, I'm going to call if I could. This is Phil. Phil, how are you, sir?
I'm good, but a little bit surprised because I was just scrolling Facebook and I saw a new law that our dear Queen Kathy passed that I had no idea was coming. And they're banning styrofoam coolers.
Is that right?
It seems like this seems like a minor thing, but when I was picking up like medical supplies and stuff like that, a lot of times we use these portable coolers to keep samples cool. And so it's one of those things where, for that industry, but also a lot of times it's just people, hey, I'm thinking about going camping. I want to go buy a cooler at the corner store, and I want to fill it up with my beverages and, buy some ice. And so they're taking something that really isn't a problem and outlawing, what are, very affordable options to keep beverages cool and keep medical supplies cool. They use them a lot for medical delivery too. So it's crazy that they're doing.
Let me touch a couple of these things. You bring up a very important point here. Again, do the wealthy tend to use styrofoam coolers? No, they don't. It's the average everyday New Yorker who uses a styrofoam cooler. Does the average wealthy person want to grab a cooler and go to, the beach or go to, the lake or whatever? Probably not. They're going to some hoity-toity thing because they're wealthy. The average New Yorker does. Yet another law that directly affects the working class and the middle class, which often overlap, versus the wealthy. Yet she's helping. And here's my worst part. She will say, Phil, it's because safety. See, because environment. And look, I get people.
John.
The environment. I'm not mad that you care about the environment. Good. I'm glad you do. But here's the problem. New York State already has the lowest carbon footprint in the entire country. We can stop now. We've gone far enough. Can we now help our people and let somebody else be the environmental warrior? Let someone else do it. We've already done it. We've already crushed our state enough for this. Let someone else do it. Thanks for that call, Phil. He got me off on that one. But yes, it is true.
John.
It's a styrofoam ban, and it's driving me crazy because it, again, only affects the average New Yorker and makes our life harder and makes us spend more for some kind of virtue signaling. Let me grab another call if I could. This is John. John, how are you?
I'm doing good, Mr. Larry Sharpe. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. What's going on?
Man, Joe, man, it's upsetting what's politically happening in New York City right now. They elected a guy who's like soft on crime. He's not going to clean up the city. I just don't think it's going to be good.
I think you're correct. I think we'll survive. And I say that because we survived de Blasio. And de Blasio was a terrible mayor, and we survived him. I think we'll survive this one. The problem is next year is going to be a very tough year economically. That is my worry.
Absolutely. And I'm upset that the crime's going to get worse because that's a big issue for me because my aunt, her apartment was broken into and robbed and the police didn't do anything. And this was under Eric Adams. Yep. And I just think, under Zoran Mamdani.
Well, I got to be clear on something here. Let me be clear on something here. Very often, what people don't see is how much control a DA has over the police force. What I mean by that, you could have the hardest core police chief in the world who's like, lock them all up. If the DA is going to let people go, if the DA is not going to charge them, if our judges are going to let them out as soon as they get arrested, the cops stop doing stuff, regardless of how the cops are trained, regardless of how hardcore the chief of police is. A critical aspect is DAs and judges. That's an important piece. That makes sense?
Yes.
And that's a harder part. Did I lose you?
Commercial break.
Up against the break, guys. Reach out to me again. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty, chatting all about what's happening in New York State. I'll be back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Yeah, I had to pat him down as he was going to ask another question, but we're out of time. We'll have another call. Stand by.
Radio home of the Bonnies. Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA FM, Cornell, New York.
Next caller will be David.
Canisteo Valley Update.
Coming up January 5th, the Steuben County Legislature will have their reorganizational meeting. They'll be replacing the following, as they say, outgoing county legislators: Gary Swackhammer, Wendy Lozo, Carol Ferratella, and James Cool. Swackhammer's seat, that represented Hornell. He did not seek re-election. It should be noted, Swackhammer served for decades. Republican Dan Warner of Hornell won that seat. Cool represented Irwin. He was defeated in November by Democrat Deborah Shannon, who takes over for Cool. Republican Mike Valino. He replaces Wendy Lozo, who did not seek re-election. The Lozo seat, that's Canisteo, Cameron, and Thurston. Republican Justin Everlin represents Corning starting in January. Also Caton and Hornby. He takes over for Carol Ferratella, who did not seek re-election either. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll see areas of lake effect snow and blowing snow. Much colder weather settling in. Temps drop into the teens, low 20s, wind chill below zero. Those really strong gusty winds will subside, but still very blustery through the overnight. On Tuesday, we'll see some shifting bands of lake effect snow. Few inches possible with temps in the 20s. I'm Rich Cornelia for the Voice of Liberty.
They're wrapping up a great year at Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Route 96 in Victor, where you can lease with Santa-size savings. Get a new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Willis convertible, only $269 a month for 36 months. $53.83 down, 10,000 miles a year. And check this. Lease a 2025 Jeep Compass Limited SUV at just $249 a month for 42 months. $47.40 down, 7,500 miles per year. A new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo is just $299 a month for 42 months. $58.14 down, 7,500 miles per year. A 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn or Lone Star Crew Cab pickup is $299 a month for 42 months. $57.03 down, 10,000 miles per year. Deals require lease loyalty, except the Wrangler, which requires Stellantis loyalty. First payment, DMV, taxes, and fees due at signing. Eligibility conditions and exclusions may apply. Come test drive and see dealer for details. We welcome Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram customers in Victor, Canandaigua, Macedon, Fairport, and Finger Lakes. Celebrate the season at the most beautiful new vehicle sales and service dealership in the area. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, 6484 Route 96, just east of Victor.
Looking to grow your business, expand your network, and make a lasting impact in our community? The Greece Regional Chamber of Commerce is here to help. The Chamber offers powerful networking events, business education, marketing opportunities, advocacy, and community programs that bring people together. You don't have to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from across the region. When we connect, collaborate, and support one another, business moves forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to become a member today.
Whatever your rehabilitation needs, St. James Hospital's highly skilled physical therapists are here to help with one-on-one personalized care for individuals dealing with illness, injury, or recovering from surgery, and specialized treatments for balance disorders, dizziness, and concussions.
I think what makes us different from the rest is our warm, welcoming personalities, and we really strive to further our own education so we can better help the community.
Get back to doing the things you love. Find out more at stjamesortho.urmc.edu.
Patchwork Saddlery in Avon fits Western saddles as well as English saddles. The styles and construction is different, but the importance of fitting the horse and rider isn't. Whether you're a trail rider, a barrel racer, or a roper, your horse can't give you his best if his saddle is hurting him. Patchwork Saddlery's fitter can give you the peace of mind that your saddle is good for both of you, or the insight to select one that would work better. Put your money where your heart is. Shop locally at Patchwork Saddlery, East Main Street, Avon.
There's always flag-waving fun happening at the legendary Robbie's Bar and Grill, just a chip shot north of Ladder Road in Greece. There's great selection of the coldest beer, great food, and feature drinks, entertainment, and respect for our service personnel, COs, first responders, veterans, and military and families. It's a party atmosphere that's family-friendly, too. Bring the gang and make North Greece great again with your friends at Robbie's Bar and Grill, just north of Ladder Road in North Greece. God bless America and God save New York.
I'm Silas from Tom Walls in Avon. Here's some math. 2 slices of Kraft American cheese, 1 fresh pie plate pressed burger, a toasted...
Hey, have you been to that Robbie's Bar and Grill?
Juice strips from every bite. That adds up to 1 perfect...
In the urinal, they have a picture of Kathy Hochul.
I know that I am not defined by the person that I used to be. I've been transformed.
At least they did last time I knew, but they probably still do.
Through the Open Door Mission.
Restoring hope and changing lives. Go to opendoormission.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio, the Voice of Liberty, 585-346-3000. A couple of comments I'm going to grab real fast. 99 says, well, now let's add a surcharge for every new heart transplant for the brand new Coleman every time. It's a valid point. And it wouldn't just be for that. It would be for transferring things around in general. You've just made healthcare even more expensive. Just what we wanted. Healthcare even more expensive. It is insane that you thought about that immediately. And you were right. Let me grab a call if I could. This is David. David, how are you?
Good, thank you. This Kathy Hochul, this COPA thing that she has going, I see a couple of problems with it. The biggest problem I see, heaven forbid, a white neighborhood, there's a rich guy in a white neighborhood says, oh, well, what do you mean you think you're going to be trying to sell something to a black person or a Hispanic? I'm going to buy your house.
Oh,
isn't that basically the door that she opened?
David. No, you're right. You literally could, people could use this as a way of controlling who comes into the neighborhood. You're totally right.
That's the first thing that came to my mind when I heard this.
So I like my neighborhood to be a certain color. So I'm going to make sure that whatever color I like is what the neighborhood stays. And if you're going to sell to the people that I like, whatever color I prefer, then that's fine. If not, the community will step in and make sure you do the right thing. Wow. You just made it even worse.
The other thing, this homeless stuff. Well, right now we're closing down all kinds of prisons. You know, we could house a lot of people in those prisons with the doors open rather than locking them.
You mean turning them into some type of housing for homeless?
Yeah, just one room. What does a one room with facilities to take a shower, whatever, and just keep them separate, whatever. It would be a hell of a lot cheaper than putting people up in hotels.
Well, and doing that, maybe, yes, I think it's possible. You could even you'd have to have some kind of security, I assume, maintenance and such too. Yeah, not a bad idea. You're making me think. Maybe I got to think about that. David, thanks for the call, my friend. I appreciate it. All right, maybe we got to, it might actually be, it's going to sound crazy, but to his point, it might actually be easier
Daniel.
to turn prisons into temporary homeless shelters than it would be commercial space because of plumbing and windows. That sounds, I don't know, maybe. Just makes you think. Maybe, I don't know. I'm now rethinking this whole thing. Huh, okay. Any case, I appreciate that. I appreciate the concepts. Absolutely. Phil says, some of the prisons used to be sanitariums and are built more like schools. Well, maybe that's a thing too. Possibly. I don't know. Evelyn says, politics complicated, convoluted. Why are politicians so seemingly out of touch with our reality? Because most politicians aren't concerned about our reality. That's the reason why. Do they solve anything? Are our problems solved? The only guy who's talking about solving problems is the guy you're talking to right now. They talk about other guy bad. Orange man is bad. Oh, Trump evil. That's all the time. Mamdani bad. That's all the time. Okay, great. They're bad. Okay. What are you going to do to fix it? Everything we're talking about is not making things better. So I appreciate that, Evelyn. I have another call. Who do I have here on this call?
Daniel.
Hey, Daniel.
Hello, Larry. You hear me?
How are you? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm doing good. So when I first heard about the COPA stuff, I was annoyed and said, okay, here they go, full-on communism. However, it just dawned on me that if we think about it properly, this is one of the best opportunities if we actually take advantage of it.
Okay.
Okay. So if the left and the progressives want to take over the property and get rid of residential property and have all rents go to public use, they're using COPA as their goal. Well, it's like a football game. Fourth quarter, the other team has the ball. If you fight them too hard before they score the touchdown, then there's no time to come back.
Right.
Let them institute this program and reach out to HUD right now during this administration and have nonprofits that come in and actually deed out all of these buildings and actually increase the surface area of homeownership. It's actually, if we take it as an opportunity, we can actually take it as an opportunity to increase homeownership instead of allowing them to do it.
Hold on. Let me see if I get this. Make sure I get this. What you're saying is we could take this as an advantage, have the right nonprofits or government organizations purchase these homes and then give out deeds to increase home ownership. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Huh. That's a challenge, but I hadn't thought of it. That would be challenging because now you're going against other communities. Not impossible. Daniel, good way of looking at it. You're making me think. Or even make it rent to own, but like very cheap, like insanely cheap.
Exactly. Ultimately, what they're doing is affordable housing. However you look at it, you'll never own it, right?
Right.
So they set themselves up with this window of these NGOs taking over the property. Okay, great. Let's create our own NGOs, beat them at their own game, and deed everything out, rent-to-own programs, everything that, everything on our wish list, we can actually implement with our own NGOs.
I actually like that idea. I got to think it through, but I like it. Daniel, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call, brother. That is, I got to give Daniel credit. He looked at this from a whole different way. So if we actually were to shift and use kind of their law against them, okay, I'm open to the idea. I haven't thought it through yet, but I like how it sounds. That's not bad. Daniel, thank you for that call. Wow. All right. I want to grab a couple of comments too, because people are commenting on this. All right. Mike says Daniel needs to turn down his TV or computer. I think we still have an echo now, so we got to work on that too. All right. Ed Runnick says, I thought that Hochul's plan in closing prisons house illegals and homeless. Well, again, I think we could in theory. I think we could in theory. We could do it. It's possible. I just don't think it's that easy to do. It's easier than commercial spaces. I'm still going back to Daniel's idea. What if you created your own NGO or your own nonprofit and you did something good with those properties? You could even, in theory, depending upon how you did it, you could even make it to where you compensate the person better. Or if it's a family, right? You might want to even compensate the family better. You could have rules within your own NGO that if it's a family, not obviously a corporation, some big corporation, whatever, you might have rules on that deciding on how you could help them or how you could assist them. All right, he's making me think. You guys, you are making me think today. I like this one. This is a good show. I appreciate it. Guys, if you want to give me more, you can. 585-346-3000. This is Larry Sharpe on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. Back with more of your calls and your chat after the break.
Debunking advertising from the law office of...
All right, sorry, I forgot to mute this again when I gave you that caller name again. We have another caller after the break, Craig.
Nobody can tell you, quote, what your case is worth over the phone. Nobody knows. The ultimate answer to, quote, what your case is worth involves weeks or months of research, evaluation, and preparation. Many factors go into any compensation you might get, like applicable law, who's actually at fault, how much insurance coverage there is, and many, many other factors. At the law office of Christopher Johnson, the singular focus is getting your life back on track after an accident or injury. That takes money, and it helps when the advice and legal advice you get has a one-on-one focus informed by straight talk. Christopher Johnson, attorney, car, truck, motorcycle accidents, personal injury, and DWI defense. Call 585-415-3803. 585-415-3803.
The youth of our city are in a new crisis. Criminal justice reform has created the consequences of no consequences and generated a whole new generation of 12 to 17-year-old kids committing serious crimes. Never before have we had this level of youthful offenders, but 90% of these kids are just trying to do the right thing and need a safe sanctuary to retreat to. That's Rochester Youth for Christ. You can be a part of this solution by giving generously and regularly at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. So happy that you're give me a couple minutes, a little bit of time from your afternoon. Sharpe Way Radio, the Voice of Liberty. We are talking about COPA. We are talking about no tax on tips. And already people are talking about how to scam the system in some way, shape, or form. Already doing it. It is crazy. Phil says the COPA Act is going to facilitate the investment in lawyers and accountants to sidestep the law. I can't sell my real estate, but maybe I can sell my stock in my real estate corporation. Yes. Phil's already saying the wealthy get around it this way. Daniel's talking about starting NGOs. We're already talking about changing everything already. It's crazy. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Craig. Craig, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Larry?
What's going on?
Oh, the housing crisis, and I'm just glad that now Kathy has decided to fix it, and everyone's going to get a home.
Now it's fixed,
and everything will be
fixed,
affordable.
done. Yep.
Yeah. So, we all know that's not true. So,
of course.
One of the other issues, people are hitting on a lot of other subjects this show, but one of the places where Kathy has actually attempted to do things for affordable housing is in the North Country. There aren't a lot of homes up there. There's not a lot of jobs up there. The homes that are up there are homes for summer folks, rich people from the city. And then they might be derelict too because people can't afford to fix them up. And then also the short-term rental with Airbnb like that, a lot of places are outlawing that because a lot of these places have been turned into short-term rentals and are not available for people to rent long-term or to own. So her solution to that was to build 4 homes for $400,000 a piece and then offer them for sale for $160,000 a piece. And it took 20 years. This wasn't her plan originally. She took it over. My point is we built 4 houses after 20 years and we fixed affordable housing in the North Country. And people actually say that. They say this is the solution.
Yes.
The thing that's caused
because they don't know any better.
What's that?
They don't know any better. They just see something happening and think, that's it.
Right. So there was a lady saying, this is the greatest thing that I've ever seen. It's so great. I'm so happy. That's my question, I guess, is how do we change that? Because up there, the APA, the park agency, runs everything. They tell you where you can build and whatnot. And do we have to gut the agency? Do we have to fix zoning? What is the issue to get better homes, more homes, cheaper in the North Country?
The reality of it is there is one state that is not being hammered as bad as many of the other states and of large states, and that state's Texas. Texas has large cities. Houston is the third or fourth largest city in the country, something like that. Texas is the second largest state by population in the entire union. These are big states with big budgets and large cities. And what do they not have? Zoning. You just said it, zoning. But it's the second piece. The problem is in New York State, not only do we have zoning, which you should get rid of, but our agencies, everyone is assigned to say no. Everyone is punished if something goes wrong, but nobody's assigned to say yes. And no one gets rewarded when things go right. Our incentives are completely backward. I'll give you an example. Our Department of Buildings, the goal shouldn't be to enforce the codes. And often people think that should not be the goal. The goal should be to ensure New Yorkers build safely. It's a different goal. If my goal is to enforce the code, it doesn't matter if things are built. Things get built, no one's happy about that. Someone broke a code, I'm punished. No, the goal is to build safely. Did you build safely? Yes, you win. Change the incentives of our agencies, remove zoning, and you will find people build more. If you punish landlords, you'll have less landlords. Texas is a very landlord-friendly state. And you might go, that's terrible. The little guys are screwed. The opposite. Rents are lower, and they have a higher percentage of home ownership than we do. So they have a less of a homeless problem, higher home ownership, and lower rents. So it doesn't harm the little guy. It actually helps them. That's how you fix it. I hope I answered your question, Craig. Yes, I gave you an actual answer.
Yeah, I'm on
still
board
there?
with all of that. You're not going to
There we
hear
go.
me say that Kathy should be building people homes. I don't think that's the answer.
There we go. Absolutely. Well, look, you bring up a point. You know, the Republicans don't have answers. The Democrats don't have answers. The guy who has answers is me. And Liberty D, the Liberty says, Larry, it's time to take the line. I am considering trying to just take the Republican line this time. Blakeman has no answers. Hochul has no answers. Larry Sharpe has answers. Maybe I just run the Republican primary, beat Blakeman, and just take the line. And I'll have a libertarian line, a We the People line, because I'm libertarian. Take the Republican line too, the conservative line too. Have 4 of them against Kathy's 2, and win this damn thing next year. And actually fix some stuff. Because sadly, while a lot of the Republican establishment does not like me at all, it's obvious they don't. A lot of Republican voters really do. So maybe that's my time. Anyway, Craig, I appreciate the back and forth. So, look, I brought up take the line because maybe it is time. Maybe it's time to
Roger.
doing that. I'm not really sure. Anyway, I will take another call if I could. This is Roger. Roger, how are you?
Good. I missed the entire show. I was dealing with a lawyer. But from the title, it says, "Is a little guy being helped?" No, we're not. And
yes.
And you said you have the answers, but the people have better answers, and we need to be allowed to be able to place our own amendments on the ballot. Okay, so we come up with the answers. One of my answers is complete decommodification of housing, okay? Allow community land trusts to come in, buy the land for cheap, and then have affordable housing owned by the individual on top of it. I'm not saying we should.
Well, here's the piece I like what you're saying. I like 2 parts of this, Roger. Part 1 I like is that you said the people have the answers. I agree. I don't have to have every answer. I wish I was that smart. I mean, I'm pretty smart, but I wish I was that smart that I could have all the answers. Of course I can't, right? And not just that, an answer that works in, say, Brooklyn may not work in Monroe County. What we work in Monroe County may not work in Allegheny County. Why don't we let local people come up with their answers as they see fit? I think the idea of having individuals and groups of people come up with citizen ballot initiatives is a great idea. so we can figure out how to pass laws. We should do it at the county level also. I love that too. In addition, I think that we should be allowing more groups of people to have group ownership. I'm totally okay with that. I don't like it when it's forced at all. Like this law, COPA, is forcing it. I don't like forcing it. If a group of people in a community want to get together and buy property, that's a wonderful idea. I think if they want to, hand it out as they see fit, or make it rent to own, or have local people own it, I'm in. All good. As long as we're not forcing it, I don't mind at all. The reality of it is, if we let people come up with the answers, we will figure out which ones work. And again, it might work better in Allegheny County, or it might work better in Steuben County, or it might work better in Queens. Let it work as it seems to work. And then people can start to see it and do it as they see fit, and it won't have to be forced. I'm not saying you're right or wrong, Roger, on your specific idea. I'm saying I don't have to know if it's right or wrong. I should let you do it, and we'll see. Does that make sense?
Yes, I like that. I like what you just said about instead of forcing codes, enforce to make sure that they build safely.
Yes.
I got to write that one down.
Yes. There has to be an incentive for an outcome. If the incentive is to stop it, they will keep stopping it. If the incentive is the outcome, they will give you the outcome. Not just that. You add AI next year. AI is going to be able to have people go through all the codes and see which ones are actually being used, and see which ones aren't being used, and see which ones are 100 years old and don't matter anymore, that some bureaucrat can decide to stop you from building when it doesn't matter anymore. You can use AI to go through these things and to prune all the old things, and to then decide, depending upon where it is, which codes actually cause harm if they're not followed, and which ones are just some guy decided he didn't like you, so he says, I don't like guys named Roger, so if your name starts with an R, you can't build in Nassau County, right? They can stop those things. I think both can work.
I hear you. I'm not a big fan of AI. However, I still want my bridge built across the Long Island Sound.
I love that idea. I'm with you. Let's do it.
Train tunnel.
I'm okay. Thanks for the call, Roger. I appreciate it.
All right.
So look, I say this all the time. I think citizens being able to be clear, for those who don't know, New York does have ballot initiatives. It does exist. But what Roger's saying is not ballot initiatives. He's saying citizens. I mean, we can get enough signatures and put it on the ballot. That doesn't exist in New York State. The assembly decides what goes on the ballot. And what they do is they go, hey, this is a controversial thing that I don't want to be responsible for. So I'm going to put this on the ballot and make you guys responsible. Not a good idea. Guys, this was a great show. I appreciate all the thinking that we did. I want to say thank you for giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.